noches, bienvenidas y bienvenidos a este programa. Este es un programa especial que estamos desarrollando en CNN con motivo de una conversación que sostendremos para ustedes con Julian Assange, periodista, experto cibernético, fundador y director de Wikileaks, que se encuentra, como sabemos, en la Embajada de Ecuador en Londres, y que, bueno, es un personaje que se ha convertido en un personaje muy importante para el tema de la información, de las noticias y de la información general para las sociedades. Julian Assange nos ha concedido esta entrevista para hablar de muchos temas y hemos conseguido ampliar nuestro programa de esta noche precisamente para escuchar asuntos que tienen que ver con la realidad actual. Pero también quisiéramos preguntar sobre el balance que hace Assange de lo que ha pasado con Wikileaks en los últimos años. Gracias, Julian, por esta entrevista. Bienvenido a CNN. Gracias por estar aquí.
You're welcome.
Por supuesto, están los temas de actualidad. Donald Trump, los rusos, los cables, las últimas informaciones. Me gustaría conocer el balance que hace Julian Assange en 2017 de lo que ha sucedido en todos estos años desde la primera gran divulgación masiva de informaciones.
I founded WikiLeaks 10 years ago. We've been publishing all across that time. For almost 7 of those years now, I've been detained without charge here in the United Kingdom. And last year there were 2 UN rulings that detention was illegal. So the WikiLeaks as an organization has answered a very interesting question, which is what happens to a media organization that publishes the truth that is sent to it from whistleblowers and sources and so on around the world with a simple guarantee. If the information is true, has not been published before, then we will publish it. So that's very interesting. What you find, of course, is that it infuriates certain establishments, and those establishments make their counterattacks of various kinds. And if you look at an outlet like, say, CNN, CNN's able to balance its coverage through the use of opinion. WikiLeaks just publishes facts, and sometimes they're only facts on a particular issue. And you can't then balance this issue by giving opinions on the others, because WikiLeaks doesn't publish opinions, we publish analysis of the true information, the original documents that we're involved in publishing. So during this past 10 years, we've been able to understand something of the world, not just based upon the information that we're revealing, but also by looking at what the reactions are from different elements to that kind of publication, the attempts to censor and suppress in many different countries. The broader transition that we've seen politically and culturally during this time, well, of course, it's all coming about as a result of the internet. It's coming about as a result of the increased ability by people to give their positions and also information. And the existing structures that are in particular states and even the existing culture is being disturbed by that phenomenon. And those disturbances can be positive and they can be negative. But the existing structures as they currently exist are as a result of the various balances that exist within a state, the financial balances, energy supplies, the power of the military, and who owns the media and who has the ability to communicate. And when these balances change, the outer states and their relationships must also change. So that's what's been happening.
Hablando de elecciones, Julian, Wikileaks reveló miles de correos electrónicos en un momento de alto impacto para el proceso electoral en los Estados Unidos. vimos de qué manera la candidatura de Hillary Clinton se vio afectada negativamente por la divulgación de estos miles de correos electrónicos, particularmente los del señor Podesta. ¿De qué manera Wikileaks, de qué manera esta decisión de divulgar en ese preciso momento impactó las elecciones estadounidenses?
Well, WikiLeaks didn't have any impact on the US elections. What had an impact was the statements of Hillary Clinton to Goldman Sachs made in secret to her campaign team, etc. So what we published was simply the statements of Hillary Clinton directly to the public without spin, so the public could understand them. Now, what they came to understand is that the primary process in the Democratic Party, where Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders were in competition, had been rigged by players within the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, against its own constitution, which says that the DNC is to fairly impartially administer that internal election, exactly the same as a state election body is to fairly and impartially oversee a national election. So the internal process in the Democrats had been corrupted, and as a result, the most competitive candidate, which was Bernie Sanders, didn't win that process. Instead, the least competitive candidate of the two won in the process and then entered into competition with Donald Trump and lost.
Independientemente de la parte Sanders, es claro que la divulgación masiva de estos correos electrónicos afectó negativamente la campaña de Hillary Clinton. ¿Qué tanto ayudó la divulgación de Wikileaks?
On the empirical analysis, so far people haven't been able to establish a change. They have been able to establish that the words of James Comey, the FBI, head of the FBI, in the last 10 days of the election, saying he was reopening investigation, that did change the Hillary Clinton polling by about 3%. For our publications, it's not, at least empirically, it's not clear that they made that kind of difference. They certainly made a difference structurally within the Democratic Party. So after our revelations of corruption within the Democratic Party, the top 5 officials of the Democratic Party resigned, including the president, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And, you know, hopefully those documents go on to encourage a reformation within the Democratic Party, where the party starts to cater to its base instead of particular elite groups that manage to seize power and corrupt the process. Why you want to have a primary process is not simply to get more people involved within the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, but so you have a test as to which candidate is the most competitive. In fact, it's like having a market. You have two competing products, two competing candidates, both trying to sell their message and the capacities of their teams. And when you end up choosing the weaker candidate out of this process, then they end up going on to lose. I mean, we could talk a lot more about the other problems with Hillary Clinton. I know a great deal about them. It's probable that our sources came forward to us in relation to Hillary Clinton because we became domain experts on her tenure in the State Department by publishing her cables and her emails and so on. So we were real experts and developed a good reputation for fearlessly publishing information concerning her financial dealings, the various alliances that she had and so on.
La pregunta sería si hubo una intención política al divulgar esta información exactamente en el proceso electoral.
Well, some people say everything is politics. The WikiLeaks itself has an intention as an organization, and that intention is to publish true information. We have a perfect, pristine 10-year record that no one disputes, that every single one of our publications has been accurate, original information. So the question for us is, we always want more information. We want as many. We would like original information on every single power player, so we could share that with the public. But when we get information, the question becomes, do we suppress it? Do we censor it? And WikiLeaks can't do that. We can't suppress information. That's our brand. That if people take the risk to give us information, we'll make sure that it is published, and we'll make sure that we never disclose who that person is.
Ahora sí podemos hablar, papito, son anuncios. Sí, hay un paréntesis. Pues es de la entrevista que le hizo Carmela Aristegui, la que le hizo Carmen Aristegui en el 2017. Fíjate, hace 2 años. Aristegui, al que apresaron ahora, Assange. Entonces por eso es muy histórica, importante. Es justo cuando se decía que lo que él publicó afectó a Hillary Clinton. Porque ahí Hillary Clinton fue muy indiscreta. Pero aún así yo creo que todo lo que revela WikiLeaks está filtrado. Todo lo que tiene que ver con los judíos y con Israel lo remueven. Tienen un sistema de filtrado. Porque ahí entre eso había mucho de lo del 11 de septiembre. El 11 de septiembre y la participación de Israel. Y todo eso lo removieron. Entonces aun cuando divulga selectivamente cosas, papá, pero oculta también cosas. Sí, fíjate. Eso él lo removía, por eso no les afecta. Pero ellos tienen la facultad de poderle de alguna forma ayudar, porque tenía como un acuerdo de remover todo lo que los comprometiera a ellos, especialmente al diabólico de Netanyahu, que fue de los que estuvieron detrás del 11 de septiembre. En realidad, fíjate, le echaron la culpa a los musulmanes, ¿verdad? Y ellos siguieron asumiéndola, porque son salvajes los musulmanes. Pero la información es clara de que Netanyahu estuvo detrás del 11 de septiembre con el total apoyo de George W. Bush, fíjate. Ajá, del Bush hijo con Netanyahu, sí. Y todos los que estaban en ese entonces en Israel, pues Olmert, que era el que estaba de los principales, vino el 11 de septiembre a supervisar todo. Estaba Ariel Sharon y estaba Shimon Peres. Todos esos tienen que ver, participaron en eso. Les convenía. Ahí viene, papá, entonces ahora sí me voy a callar.
Bueno, aquí la inteligencia de los Estados Unidos concluyó que fueron hackeados por los rusos estos sistemas, y queda aquí siempre presente en este proceso electoral el tema Rusia. Desde luego no pido que revele su fuente WikiLeaks ni Julian Assange, pero ¿qué responde frente a esos señalamientos de que la fuente original de información procede de un hackeo de los rusos?
We know that our source is not a state. of any description, not Russia, not China. They've said that repeatedly and publicly, early on, etc. So our source is not a state. In relation to other questions about, well, I guess Russia, is there a relationship between Russia and the Donald Trump campaign? We don't have an opinion. We don't have yet evidence of that ourselves. If we get it, of course, we'll publish it. But the phenomena itself is quite interesting and concerning. The phenomenon in the United States of talking up the nature of that conflict. The United States, as most of you will know, has an extremely large intelligence complex and military complex. And these two complexes are fairly united, including with the political class and a number of US large multinational companies whose interests they often serve. So this establishment, which Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex, it always needs an enemy in order to survive. More than 54% of the US discretionary budget goes to this complex. 6% goes to education.
Volviendo al tema Rusia, tengo que preguntar, Julian, ¿qué tipo de relación sostiene Wikileaks con el gobierno de Vladimir Putin? ¿Tiene algún tipo de apoyo, financiamiento o algún tipo de colaboración Wikileaks y Julian Assange con el gobierno ruso?
No, none whatsoever. But of course we have to understand why you're asking this question. This is because of this attempt by the Democratic Party ruling elite to try and distract from criticism of their base in the post-election environment, which would otherwise purge them, and by the Central Intelligence Agency and its friends in the security complex to always try and create a fuss about any state. Russia has a GDP that is less than that of South Korea, less than that of Italy. So it has its problems, particularly for its immediate neighbors, but it's nothing compared to China and a whole lot of other countries. It's a rather small country economically. WikiLeaks has published more than 600,000 documents about Russia, more than 2.3 million documents about Syria, Russia's ally, including even the personal emails of Bashar al-Assad. So there's not only is there no connection between Russia and WikiLeaks, but WikiLeaks has aggressively published on Russia and its allies.
Como una interpretación política, Julian, ¿qué me dices del momento que se vive entre Rusia y Estados Unidos? Estamos viendo cosas inéditas entre las dos potencias. ¿Cuál es tu análisis del tema?
If you look at Donald Trump's statements going back 20 years, they are sort of neo-isolationist in a variety of ways. So his desire to make friends, at least his stated desire to make friends with Russia, is not a new phenomenon as far as he is concerned. But of course, it is very much at odds with the existing US security complex. Why is that? It's an interesting question. Is it something about Russia? Is it something about the West? Well, my analysis is that Russia has a sizable arms industry, and that arms industry is in competition with the US arms industry, and more broadly with the Western arms industries that play a smaller role. So the various actors in both states, coupled to those arms industries, are always pulling on the government to try and make it harder for the other country to export its arms. So how can a country export its arms? Well, it engages in political relationships, and then those political relationships or security relationships lead to arms exports. Why does there need to be a political relationship for there to be arms exports? Well, because if you're a country, say Mexico, why do you want arms? Well, the argument is that you might need them if there's a war. So, but you're thinking, if there's a war, well, I want to know that the people who are selling us arms are going to keep selling them to us, and they're going to keep maintaining them. And that's dependent on geopolitical alliances. You don't want the war to start and then your arms supply to go in the other direction. So political alliances are important for arms deals. And so that as long as both the US and Russia have major arms sectors, those two countries are going to be in some kind of rivalry. And it took about 77 days for that fundamental aspect of the United States and Russia to end up in a change of policy by the Trump administration in relation to Russia and Syria. At least a stated change of policy, but it does seem to be true looking at the various appointments to the Trump cabinet. The other thing that has occurred in the gradual shifting dynamics of the Trump cabinet is that the US, the Central Intelligence Agency, had become strongly coupled to the project to intervene in Syria, spending more than $1 billion a year. It was its #1 project, was to overthrow the Syrian government. And when Donald Trump came along and said he wanted a different policy, no intervention in Syria, there are many people's careers at stake and alliances between the CIA and the intelligence agencies of other states involved in that war. For example, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, who are also trying to overthrow the Syrian government. So they fought very hard to prevent a change in policy by the Trump administration. And some senior people who looked like they were going to be fired anyway because they're appointed by Barack Obama thought, why not create some problems on the way out as well? So the result is Trump started to feel weak and threatened by the US intelligence agencies. But a president has to get his power from somewhere. He has to have the core power of the state somewhere on his side. So he didn't have the CIA. Instead, he went and reached out to the Pentagon, and he took a number of Pentagon generals and placed them into positions of power within his cabinet. At the time, I thought that was a very dangerous thing for him to be doing. It made his cabinet Pentagon heavy. The influence of generals started to become very strong compared to the influence of others, including the influence of intelligence agencies. And I think you start to see that influence of generals now taking shape in US foreign policy. Trump's decision to try and increase the US military budget by $50 million.
Otra vez podemos hablar, papito, porque estaban en anuncios. Pero sí, pero fíjate, la influencia de Israel es perniciosa sobre el mundo, es maligna. Ya ves que primero Trump les iba a reducir el dinero que manda a Israel anualmente y le empezaron a meter problemas. Y en cuanto empezó a dar más apoyo a Israel, todo lo que estaban ellos urdiendo bajo el agua de la intervención de Rusia en sus elecciones se esfumó y fue hallado inocente. Entonces, cuando bajo el agua lo presionó Netanyahu a que favoreciera a Israel, se redujo la presión y resultó que Trump era inocente. Entonces, ahí se ve que Israel tiene un gran poder sobre los gobiernos de Estados Unidos. ¿Sí? Entonces tuvo que doblar los brazos, las manos Trump ante Israel. Y ahora dice que su amigo es ese perverso diabólico de Bibi Netanyahu, que está siendo acusado en 3 categorías: como fraudulento, como corrupto. Fíjate. Y eso se sabe. Bibi desde los 70 escribió libros indicando que tenía que haber una crisis muy grande en Estados Unidos para lograr la simpatía del mundo hacia Israel. Fíjate. Una crisis terrorista. Entonces Netanyahu ya tenía planeado eso. Ya te digo, esta entrevista de Carmen Aristegui es histórica porque él dijo muchas cosas en ese entonces que tienen consecuencias actuales. Hace 2 años, fíjate, el 12 de abril del 2017, casi 2 años a la fecha, ¿verdad? ¿Y qué día es hoy? 11, ¿verdad? Entonces mañana es 12, fíjate. Entonces él 2 años a la fecha y es cuando lo capturaron, fíjate. Pero es que fíjate, tantos años ahí. A ver, me voy a callar, ya va a empezar otra vez.
A la ecuación hay que agregar ahora a China y a Corea del Norte, que estamos también viendo focos de tensión importantes. Permíteme aprovechar tu análisis para agregar este otro elemento: China, Corea del Norte, Estados Unidos. ¿Cómo ve Julian Assange esta otra parte del mapa?
We published a very interesting speech in the last week by Hillary Clinton, given in private to Goldman Sachs, where she discusses the China-North Korean issue. And that is if you like, the position of the US intelligence agencies and US establishment that Hillary Clinton was quite close to. They perceive that China doesn't want a unified North Korea with South Korea, because South Korea would dominate, and then it would increase the total power of South Korea, which is, of course, right on its border. So the Chinese like to keep this split. We should remember, from the North Korean perspective, they have been threatened since the end of the Korean War in the 1950s, with the United States placing nuclear weapons in South Korea. There's more than 30,000 US troops currently in South Korea, in various bases. There has been for decades. So there's a very interesting shifting geopolitical problem, which is that China is growing at about 6% per year in its economic capacity, and the United States does have to start to pull back in its influence. If you have one state increasing its influence and the other state staying the same, then there has to be a change about the relative influences of those states close to the border of the state that is growing more powerful, in this case China. So the Obama administration had a overarching project to deal with some of those issues in Southeast Asia, and that was the construction of the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, to try and economically and legally integrate those countries with the United States in a new bloc, something a little bit like the European Union, integrated economic and legal bloc, and therefore pull those states away from China. That hasn't happened, and now I guess there needs to be a different approach. The particular confrontational approach taken by Donald Trump, I'm not not entirely sure what he's doing with that approach.
Tal vez lo cortaron. Porque ya aparecieron las... Ah, no, continúa. Continúa. Se van a aventar la hora, papá. Fíjate.
Gracias, Julian, por esta entrevista. Bienvenido a CNN. Gracias por estar aquí. Pregunto sobre Donald Trump, Julian. ¿Qué tan fuerte o qué tan débil puede ser Donald Trump? Se dice que podría estar comprometido con los rusos, porque los rusos podrían tener información explosiva sobre él. Wikileaks y Julian Assange estarían listos para recibir información que pueda afectar a Trump en territorios no políticos, sino personales.
Yes, we asked for multiple times during the election for people to step forward with Donald Trump's tax returns and after. So, of course, we're very interested in information on a powerful president like Donald Trump. People should understand that politics is a type of theatre, and the power of a president, especially in a large, complex society like the United States, is much less than first appears. And you can see that as Donald Trump's positions have been beaten about and changed as he's gotten into power, as he's being pushed up against the reality of the U.S. security complex, the reality of the United States relationships with other countries, its close relationships. So he's being pushed about, and his positions are shifting to those positions that we've seen from Barack Obama, those positions that we've seen from Hillary Clinton and previous presidents. It gives rise to this question: how much is the U.S. president a leader versus how much are they a spokesperson?
Donald Trump es tan controvertido que algunas personas piensan que va a reelegirse, pero otras personas piensan que no terminará su mandato. ¿Qué piensa Julian Assange de Donald Trump?
There's definitely been moves to knock off Donald Trump, to try and get an impeachment up. Those are very interesting. They're being pursued by the Democratic Party. I guess they possibly think they can do it, but also to stabilize the Democratic Party's own internal dynamics. If you look at the process in the United States, really the easiest way to remove Donald Trump is through impeachment. And impeachment requires 2/3 majority of the U.S. Senate. So as soon as a 2/3 majority of the U.S. Senate can be obtained, then Donald Trump can be removed and the Vice President Mike Pence can be put in his place. So the real question is, what type of president would Mike Pence be? This determines whether you want to support an impeachment or not support an impeachment. From a Democratic Party perspective, well, I have a source close to Hillary Clinton who has said that they prefer Mike Pence because they believe that Mike Pence is a standard Republican and they know how to fight a standard Republican. Donald Trump is very unpredictable and therefore is harder to fight.
En la campaña electoral por la presidencia de los Estados Unidos, hubo un momento, una escena que recordará a Julian, como todos nosotros, en donde Donald Trump hablaba de Wikileaks y Donald Trump pues hablaba de las informaciones divulgadas por Wikileaks y expresó I love Wikileaks. ¿Qué pensó Julian Assange cuando vio esa escena de Donald Trump?
Well, we thought free advertising. This is great. Donald Trump is advertising our publications. That means more people come and read the actual truth about what the relationship is between Hillary Clinton, Goldman Sachs, etc. At the level of, well, Donald Trump is very problematic in many of the statements that he made, and we don't want to be necessarily seen to be benefiting problematic character. That's true for many of our publications.
La situación legal de Julian Assange puede cambiar con el gobierno de Donald Trump.
Probably get worse. It will probably get worse. And unfortunately, Donald Trump's cabinet has quite a number of people that have previously said that our sources should be killed, I should be extradited, WikiLeaks should be declared a terrorist organization, etc. It's a little hard to say. It's the Obama administration, including under Hillary Clinton, created a whole of government task force to try and prosecute us and our alleged sources. Now, the rhetoric by Barack Obama was subdued. He didn't have an aggressive rhetoric in relation to us. But what the FBI has been doing, what his FBI was doing, what his Department of Justice was doing, was very aggressive. Now, the administration of Donald Trump has a much more aggressive rhetoric towards us. Mike Pence, for example, said that we should be prosecuted for our recent publication, the Central Intelligence Agency. We have to see what the actions are. It's possible that this aggressive rhetoric against WikiLeaks will generate support for us in the United States.
Pero si alguna vez Donald Trump dijo que amaba a WikiLeaks, podría interceder por Julian Assange.
Donald Trump has not made any statements after the election. Some of his staff have, and those have not been positive statements. And his FBI has now expanded the prosecution against me to also include our recent CIA publications. So it's, there's a variety of people in the Obama administration who supported us. There's a variety of people in the Donald Trump administration who support WikiLeaks. But in both cases, there's also a variety of people who oppose. And so far, what has not happened is the US Department of Justice dropping the case against me and WikiLeaks. Now, in theory, Donald Trump could have dropped that the day after he got into government. That hasn't happened, unfortunately.
Anuncios, papito. Entonces, es la oportunidad de platicar que tenemos. Este personaje es australiano, papá. Ajá. Pero como te digo, toda su información está depurada para que no incluya a Israel. Entonces tienen ahí un filtro. Puede echarles lodo y suciedad a todos los países y gobiernos excepto Israel. Es el inalcanzable, ¿sí? Entonces, en este caso, él señalaba que tal vez su situación empeorara con la administración de Donald Trump, de Daniel Trump, Daniel el Travieso. Y pues ahorita estamos viendo que aparentemente sí. Pero hasta donde yo veo, Israel lo ha de proteger, porque él protege a Israel. Entonces a ver cómo se desenvuelve eso, ¿verdad? Sí. Y ya ves que bajo el agua también Israel tiene mucho control sobre Rusia. Pues precisamente todos los judíos que están en Israel gobernando salieron de Rusia. Son de aquellos casares, los casares de Casaria que adoptaron la religión rusia por conveniencias sociopolíticas no por verdadera convicción, sino por política. Por eso Arthur Koestler publicó el libro de la tribu número 13, refiriéndose a esos de Casaria, que son los que ahora están gobernando Israel. Este Bibi llegó de allá y tenía otro nombre, ese Netanyahu, fíjate. Y son gente mala, pues ese ya lleva 5 veces de presidente de Israel y 4 veces seguidas. Y era miembro y dirigente de uno de los partidos terroristas, el partido Likud, que ha causado muchos actos terroristas a través del mundo, todos para el beneficio de Israel, fíjate. Entonces, sí. Es posible que bajo el agua también Israel esgrima su protección a este Julián, y con mucho de esto ahorita sea teatro en muchos aspectos. La historia dirá, pero ya ves ahora como toda la mañana puro Julian Assange, desde las 4 de la mañana hasta las 12.
Siempre existe la idea de que Wikileaks tiene guardado algo. Hay la idea de que siempre está esperando un buen momento para soltar una bomba. ¿Tenemos sorpresas pronto?
If I told you what it was, it wouldn't be a surprise. WikiLeaks always has publications that it's working on, published in the future. Right now, we are involved in the Vault 7 publications on the Central Intelligence Agency. We've published only 1% so far, so we still have a lot to go. That's already led to some very interesting effects. So these CIA publications, they reveal how the US Central Intelligence Agency created within it, as it got bigger after 9/11, its own version of the National Security Agency. So the National Security Agency specializes in hacking and spying, and the electronic spying, and the Central Intelligence Agency has now decided to make its own captive version of the National Security Agency. Huge fleets of CIA hackers, some of them stationed in Germany, that go out and hack your mobile telephones, TVs, etc. So that's a very interesting series of publications. And as a result of what we've published so far, antivirus companies have started to detect that a number of viruses that have been infecting people since 2008, computer viruses, that these viruses are actually written by the Central Intelligence Agency. And they have infected human rights organizations, telecoms, energy sector, financial sector in Latin America, in Europe, and in the Middle East. And even in the United States, which is illegal according to US law.
Julian Assange, llevas varios años alojado en la Embajada de Ecuador en Londres, con el reciente proceso electoral en este país, en Ecuador. ¿Cuál es tu futuro? Estamos con una situación por resolverse, aunque hay un resultado favorable a un candidato, el otro anuncia que lo impugna. ¿Cuál es la situación tuya en la Embajada de Ecuador en Londres? ¿Estás seguro que vas a estar un tiempo largo ahí?
Last year, February 5, the United Nations ruled formally that I am being illegally detained, that I should be released immediately, and that the government of the United Kingdom and Sweden should pay compensation. The government of the United Kingdom then appealed to the UN, and in November they lost that appeal as well, so the ruling was reaffirmed. The two states are in violation of that ruling, and the United States attempted to interfere during the process. The head of the jurists, a law professor from Norway, who was the head of the jurists at the UN who made that decision, has come out publicly to say the United States tried to come in behind the scenes and influence the result illicitly. So where we stand right now legally is that the United Kingdom and Sweden are obligated to abide by that ruling. And they've done so far, of course, because this is a big geopolitical fight and they don't want to lose face in the equation. But there are good people in the Swedish system and there are good people in the British system, and I think they would like to see a resolution in that process. And hopefully with this new government coming in Ecuador, there can be a renewed attempt to enforce that ruling.
El candidato opositor dijo que si ganaba las elecciones te sacaría de la embajada en 30 días, en pocas palabras.
In the lead up to the Ecuadorian election, one of the opposition leaders said that I should be handed over effectively to be arrested. Now, I don't know why he made that statement. Our cables that we had published mentioned him a number of times going into the US Embassy. But it's, that was a threat against my life. And it's also a violation of the Ecuadorian Constitution. In the Constitution, it says that refugees are not to be handed over to be arrested or hurt. Refooled is the language. So I made a joke. It was a bit insensitive that something like that should happen to this guy after losing the election. But it doesn't matter now. What is important is that in Ecuador that people come together. There's quite some differences between the government and the opposition, but those differences come together and Ecuador go forward. There was allegations that making this joke was in some way interfering in the Ecuadorian electoral process. But it wasn't. WikiLeaks hasn't published much on Ecuador. We had published nothing on Ecuador before I came in here.
Julian Assange, no puedes estar eternamente en la Embajada de Ecuador en Londres. ¿Cuáles son los escenarios que imaginas para ti? ¿Cuáles son los caminos que existen para Julian Assange según lo que vaya pasando con la justicia?
Well, I've been detained illegally in the United Kingdom for 7 years without charge, in prison, under house arrest, and at this embassy, encircled by a massive police and surveillance operation, which the UK government admits they've spent more than $20 million on. Right now, outside, there are plainclothes police cars around the block. They have robot cameras, very sophisticated, that have been installed in the opposing buildings. They have covert surveillance teams. They've done deals with those opposing buildings, some of which are owned by the sovereign fund Qatar. They try and bribe people that are associated with the embassy. So it's a heavy situation, but it is one that makes you very, very alert to try and continue on preserving with your work. The legal situation has been formally established. The United Kingdom and Sweden, by detaining me without charge, are in violation of international law and have been ordered by the UN to stop doing it twice. So far, they're not obeying those rulings. I have to say that that there's been a lot of criticism of the UN, but actually the UN is only as strong as the member states make it strong.
Tu vida está en esos extremos, en lo que dice Naciones Unidas para que te liberen y en quien dice que debe ser procesado y llevarte a la pena de muerte. Ese es el extremo que cruza por la vida de Julian Assange.
Yeah, I mean, they like to say that. Various figures in the United States have said that I should, that I and my staff should be droned, that WikiLeaks should be listed as a terrorist organization, that my family should be killed, etc., etc. My family has had to go into hiding as a result of that. So yeah, those are serious threats. On the other hand, we respond to those threats. I think there's a big lesson that comes out of my work. So these powerful security establishments, they would like the lesson to be that if you publish true information, if you criticize in this case, the Central Intelligence Agency or the war crimes committed by the Pentagon, then you will suffer. Okay, you will suffer like Julian Assange. But I look at it in a different way. WikiLeaks is a small, international, investigative publisher. And for 10 years, we have been publishing millions of documents, more than 10 million documents, about very powerful institutions and governments. And we have continued on. So by seeing what an attack is and moving in relation to that attack, we're continuing to publish. And there is not a single instance where we have suppressed a publication. We have never felt so weak or so threatened that we have had to censor a publication that we were intending to publish. So these security establishments, where do they ultimately get their power from? They ultimately get it from two places. Number one, by making everyone scared. Everyone's scared that others are going to attack them, other states, terrorists, etc. And therefore, money should be supplied to them in order to increase their budget. That's number one. Number two, they get their power by pushing fear into everyone in relation to them. So you better not criticize the Central Intelligence Agency, for example, or else you will be assassinated, the black helicopters will come, you'll be sucked into legal situations which will destroy your life, etc., etc. But WikiLeaks has managed to outmaneuver that and continue publishing. So I've been in a difficult situation. It is difficult, but it is not so difficult that I can't continue publishing. And that is because of our ability to maneuver. It's because we've had support, me personally, for example, by Ecuador. And most importantly, it's because the reputation for competency that these large security organizations have is totally bogus. Totally bogus. If they were that competent, how is it that they would not be able to stop WikiLeaks, a small organization? It's because they're very incompetent. Because secrecy breeds incompetence. Because when they act in an incompetent way, they can cover it all up because it's all secret.
Ándale, Pito. Sí. Esto ya casi termina.
Sí, ya faltan 8 minutos.
Ya casi se acaba. Pero sí, entonces él culpa, por ejemplo, a la CIA de todos los virus.
¿Quién es él?
Julian Assange, al que atraparon en la mañana. Sí.
¿Tú qué te llevas? ¿Esto?
Ajá. Y en realidad de Israel se han hecho muchos de esos virus y él solo culpa a la CIA.
Todo el tiempo creando un conflicto más grande.
Y CNN está ahí para llegar al fondo de los hechos.
Esta es la marcha convocada por varios colectivos civiles contra la corrupción.
Para que los poderosos asuman su responsabilidad.
En este país hay un baño de sangre. ¿Qué responde usted a quienes dicen que su gobierno es responsable?
Que han inventado cantidad de muertos.
Descríbame cuál es la situación de Assange.
Gracias a la libertad.
Desde muy temprano, todos en el equipo de Café CNN trabajamos para traerte las noticias más relevantes del momento.
Para saber con precisión lo que sucede en todo el mundo.
De lunes a viernes, Café CNN. Aquí se conoce.
Entonces, ya te digo, papá, él dice que las organizaciones de inteligencia son ineptas, porque siendo él una organización tan pequeña, dice, y no lo pudieron atrapar. Bueno, hasta ahora. Y es porque básicamente cayó de la gracia con Ecuador. Y ya lo andaba persiguiendo Inglaterra.
Was granted clemency by Barack Obama in the last 2 weeks of his presidency on the way out.
CNN Dinero te abre una puerta al mundo de las finanzas. Evaluamos los acontecimientos que afectan las economías, los negocios.
Entonces te digo, pues eso fue el centro de las noticias el día de hoy. Toda la mañana solamente hablando de él. Ya ves que el canciller dijo muchas cosas en contra de él, y uno de los de Ecuador que habían estado realmente al lado de él dijo que la gran mayoría de eso que habían dicho contra él eran mentiras. Ya nomás quedan unos 8 minutos. Dios te bendiga, mamita. Me despido de ti. Sí. Es que ahorita ya es de noche, es el 11 de abril del 2019 y esta fue hecha el 12 de abril del 2017. Es el que atraparon hoy en la mañana. A ver, ahora sí voy a empezar. Buenas noches, mamá.
Julian Assange, permíteme 2 breves preguntas para cerrar esta conversación. ¿Qué noticias tienes del soldado Manning?
Well, another very significant victory for us. Chelsea Manning was granted clemency by Barack Obama in the last 2 weeks of his presidency on the way out. Now, that was the right thing for Barack Obama to do. I'm not entirely sure it was done for the right reasons. I suspect it was done because there was a very big campaign to pardon Edward Snowden. And President Obama didn't pardon Edward Snowden. Instead, he pardoned Chelsea Manning. So it's perhaps a sacrificial pawn, if you like. But nonetheless, regardless of why it was done, it was the right thing to do, and a huge victory for WikiLeaks and for Manning's legal team and all those who supported him.
Julian, recientemente se dieron a conocer los premios Pulitzer esta semana. Uno de los ganadores es el consorcio internacional que organizó el trabajo de medios a nivel internacional para los papeles de Panamá, los Panama Papers. Te pregunto, no por el premio, sino por esta discusión sobre cómo hacer este manejo informativo de megafiltraciones. ¿Se debe publicar al 100% y de manera cruda todo lo que se tiene, o debe hacerse una revisión previa antes de publicar? ¿Qué piensas, Julian, para cerrar esta charla?
Well, these offshore publications are really important, these banking publications, and the Panama Leaks is an example of that. Where they came from is another question. I would actually show you some of that importance is directly to do with Ecuador. So in the recent election, there was also a referendum, and that referendum, succeeded, and it was that officials working for the government should not be able to have offshore accounts. And if they do, they need to bring them back to the state of Ecuador. So that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the Panama Papers publication. Now, in relation to the process of the Panama Papers publication, well, it's mixed. There's some very good journalists involved in that, some of our media partners. There's also some not so good journalists who are very agenda-driven.
Julian Assange, te agradezco mucho esta conversación. Gracias por permitirnos escucharte en esta charla para CNN y nos mantendremos en comunicación. Espero que ya fuera de la Embajada de Ecuador en Londres y que encuentres pronto la libertad. Gracias por esta conversación.
Thank you.
Gracias a ti. Gracias a Julian Assange. el fundador y director de Wikileaks, en esta charla para CNN. Muchos temas, muchos asuntos que habremos de seguir de cerca, bueno, desmenuzar y seguir de cerca como el análisis lo requiere. Gracias por estar aquí en este programa especial. Pásela bien, buenas noches y hasta la próxima.